Okay, team. Today I'm just going to start. So today we will discuss use callback hook, use reducer hook, and custom hook. Okay, and these are very important hooks we will discuss today. Okay, so I am audible to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, fine.
Sure.
So first we will discuss use callback hook. So use callback hook is like as we have already discussed use memo. It's the like same as we have discussed use memo, we will discuss the working of the use callback is the same to the use memo. So what is the difference is that use callback as the name callback, so it is used for the callback functions. Okay, like in the memos we have a memo accept a function and returns a value. When we use the use memo, then it's accept a function and it returns a value. But in the case of use callback, it's accept a function and returns also a function, and that function we will use in a callback. Okay, so let's get it started. Like I will create one component here, and in this example we will also like I will try to understand you like when we pass the value from parent to child, so we use props. Okay, but in the reverse situation, if we want to like pass the some value from child to parents, so how we can pass this? So we can pass this by the callback functions. Okay, so first this is a very important question as most of the interview ask in the interviews. So like how we can pass the value from child to parent. Okay, so let's I'm just going to create one component here like collex, not collex, like parent. Okay, and one more I'm just going to create child. Okay, okay, so this is my child component and this is my parent component. I'm just importing parent component here and calling in app component. Okay. I'm just going to create a state for number like number set number use state. Okay, and I'm just importing my child component here. Okay, so I'm just going to create one function get items. In that function I'm just going to return one array of number state. Okay, and I'm just going to store this function in a variable get items. Okay, I have stored here, and I'm just going to pass this function as a props in child. Okay, and in the child component Okay. So this function I will get here like get items. Okay. In use effect, I will use and I will use state. What sound? Okay. So I have used in my child component. I am using effect for side effects like effect is used. Okay. So I am just going to create one more state here like items and set items. Okay. Use state I'm using here. And in set items, I'm just updating by this function. I'm just passing this function. Okay. Like this. Here state something use effect. Okay. Like this. We are getting oh, like this. Use effect. Okay. Arrow is missing here. Okay. This is. So now I am just passing one value as like how we can pass the value from child to parent. I am passing 5. Okay. 5 from here. I'm passing. And here I am having one num variable and I am just going to add in number this num which I am passing from child component and one I am just num. Okay. So um, okay, in this function I am just going to like parent in that returning before this I am just going to I have passed num where I have passed no I have passed in the component. So this is my mistake. I'm just passing in this function. Okay. So I'm just going to console.log num child variable. Okay. Use state is not defined in here, so I need to create this as well. So I'm just going to my component inspect element. Okay. Going to console. I'm just refreshing this. Okay. So I'm getting 5 child variable. So we can pass the value from child component to parent component by the help of callback function. Okay. And here we are getting items. Okay, so I'm just going to console this, console.log. So I'm getting two values, 6 and -4 in array. So with the help of map function, the people are joining late. So items.map we use like this, and here I have item, and I'm just going to create one div. Okay, and one key I'm just passing into the one key like item. Okay, so now 6 we have an error like map. Okay, we need to pass some default value here like blank array. I'm just refreshing. So I'm getting 6 and my -4. I change this value to 2, then check what will happen. So this value is updating 3 -1. Okay. So we will pass 2 here, and in our parent component we are getting like we have num initial value we have 1. So 2 plus 1 3, and in second value in array 1 minus 2 will be -1. Okay, that's why we are getting these two values, 3 -1. Okay, so I'm just going to like here child values br. So now till now I have covered like how we can pass the value from child to parent. So now we will add one more state here, const count set count is equal to use state initial value assigning 0. Okay, now I'm just printing here count colon count. Okay, and I'm just creating one button here for increment this count. On click set count count plus 1. Okay, so as I'm clicking on count, okay, so this callback function is calling again and again. So this is reducing our performance. Okay, if our callback function like this callback function get item, okay, we are having some like database connectivity here, like we are just hitting API. One, just wait 1 minute. Okay, now people are joining late. So if this get item function having some database connectivity, like we are hitting some http request from there, we have some more calculation here, and this is taking time. And so in that case we are just going to click on the plus and increasing the count. Then this will, and we are not changing number. Okay, when we are not going to change this number, this function will call again and again, and this will reduce our performance. So for this callback function we will use callback hook. Okay, as we, this is the similar to as we have used use memo. Okay, so I am just using here use callback. Okay, like this, and we will pass here number. And we will define this callback. Now let's check. Okay, now I am just going to click here plus. Okay, plus 3 1. So about this function is not calling again and again, so child variable is not calling. Okay, so this is the use case of use callback. Okay, if I will create one more counter, like I will update this state, like I am just going to create one more button. So I am just on my click event and set number number plus 1. Okay, I'm just increasing my number here. Okay, so this is for number. I'm just clicking on this. I'm just, then my value also changing, and this is child variable function also calling. Okay, when I'm just going to update my count, then this function is not calling. Okay, so this is the use case. This is the similar to the use memo. Okay, but this use callback we will use for the callback functions. Okay, so we have discussed two things till now: how we can pass the data from the child to parent by the using the callback functions, and how we can use callback. Okay, so callback is used for the, like if we are passing some callback functions and on the any other state, uh, calling any other state and changing in the any other state, if our callback function is to calling, then we can with the help of use callback, and we can memorize, and we can avoid to, and we can avoid to call these functions. So I think use callback is clear to you. Now our next hook is use reducer, and this is very important hook which we have. We also use this use reducer hook in our Redux. Okay, so this is the use reducer hook is similar to the use state. So use state is also used for the handling the state, and use reducer is also used for the uh, handling the states. So what is the difference between why we will use reducer, and if we have already have use state, so why we there is a new concept of use reducer. Okay, so use reducer is generally used to handle the complex object. Okay, in like in our Redux part, we have like very big objects, like we are having some HTTP request, and we have a like very big and very big amount of data in our Ajax. So we handle that type of object by the help of use reducer easily. But in the use state we will get some difficulty, like it's a use state is like is a best solution of a single state, handling the single state, as we have using like using numbers counts. If we will go with the like in array, as I have discussed when I was discussing use state, I have created for the multiple. By the using the one use state, I have handled the object as well. So there we will get more difficulties. So use reducer is also difficult, but when we practice this concept, then we will feel this is easy to handle the large object. Okay, so let's start the use reducer, how we can implement the use reducer. Okay, so I'm just going to create one more component here, reduce x dot jsx or fs. So I have created a component, reduce x, and in my app I'm just removing this parent. Okay. So I'm just taking my favorite example here, the count plus and minus. So const, I'm just creating a state of count, set count, use state, I'm assigning 0. Okay, and this use state I will also use here. I will import use state from React. So I'm just creating one button minus and one more button for plus, and in between I am just calling my count state. Okay, so on click event I will create one function here, decrement, and here I will have increment. Okay, now I am just going to create functions, function decrement. Okay, I am just going to create one more function for increment, and in these two I will update the state accordingly. -1, +1. Okay, let's check this example. Okay, when I am clicking here, then value is incrementing. When clicking here, value is decreasing. So now we will use reducer in place of use state. Okay, so like const in use reducer, use reducer, and also use reducer is a part of this React. Okay. So this use reducer accept first two parameters. Once it's have one function like I am just reducer, and other is object. We can have this value also like we have assigned in use state 0. We can have this 0 as well. So I am just having like this. Okay. And in this, if we are having 0, then we can type here count like count, but we are having here object, so we will have this state. And in other, we will have a dispatch is a function which is used for the dispatching uh, by the actions. Okay, we will see this. Okay, so I'm just going to create one more function for reducer here. Like this is the function for this reducer, and this have like our state, one for state, and other it's have two parameters have, one is state and other it's having action. Okay, and we are just going to return state. Okay, so now for count we will use now here state dot count like this. Okay, and I'm using this function here in decrement. Okay, and we will pass here in updated state. So how we can update this? Like we can update this count colon state dot count minus 1. Okay, and I'm just going to hide this. So let's check now. So what I have created, I have just called one use reducer function, and it's accept two parameter. One is accept a reducer function, another is accept a object. And what it returns in a state. Another is a dispatch function is used to call this our reducer function. Okay, so let's check the example on front end. Now I'm just clicking here, the value is decreasing. Okay, so it's working fine. Okay, so let if I want to use this function in my like increment also, so how I will use? Okay, so I will pass here in action like type colon decrement. Okay, and I will call this here as well increment. Okay, and in this action we will get this type like I am using a switch case, switch dot type. Okay, case like decrement. When case is decrement, then it will return this. Okay, fine. Okay, if case is increment, then what it will return? It will return plus state. Okay, and there is a default state as well, default, and it will return state, same state. Okay, now let's check. Now this is increasing and as well as this is decreasing the value, so it's working fine. So these are the like we have hard coded increment and decrement. Okay, so we will create here one constant like constant object actions, increment, decrement, decrement, and we will use and we will replace this these cases like increment. No, no, here will be decrement, decrement, as we will replace here in the type decrement, increment. Okay, so let's check now. This is decreasing, but increasing is not working. So there is some gap. Oh, I have used decrement at the both. I have to use this increment. So this is increasing and decreasing. Okay. So this is the example of reducer. But when we use in this is the simple example I have used. But when we use this reducer in our redux part, so we have separate file for these actions. Okay. So because we can use this action in the different our reducers and different our different components. So we have a separate file of actions. Okay, and we have a separate files of reducers. Okay, so action and reducer, we will have some two parts of our redux. Okay, so redux is basically a part of a feature of also a we also use in the redux. Okay, so I think this is the about use reducer hook. Okay, so next is how we can create our custom hook. Okay, so the custom hook is simply like we created like a simple component. So as we can create a simple custom hook, but our all hook, as you are seeing till now, our all hook is start with use prefix. Okay, this uses prefix. Okay, when we will create our custom hook, then we will start the name by the use prefix. Okay, now I am just going to create one more custom hook. Very simple. I will create use console call. I'm just this is an RFC. Okay, nothing I'm returning here. I'm just removing this, and I'm just accepting one value here like this, and I'm just in the using one hook here, use effect. I'm just going to console.log value when my value will be changed like. Okay, so this is my very simple custom hook for the like printing a value in the console. Okay, so I'm just this is my reducer is calling. I'm just importing here. Okay, and I'm just going to my here. I'm just passing this state count. Okay, I'm just passing this state only. Okay, and here I am just also going to yeah, custom passing this hook name. I'm just passing this hook name here like this. Okay, value is not defined, so one extra b is printed. So like this, I'm just going to check this. When then this is at the like loading. This is calling also printing the like our state is count is 0 now. When I'm clicking here, then this is calling. Okay, so this is our very simple custom hook. We can create like this. Okay, so now we have some more. We have one other hook as well, like use layout effect. Okay, this is the similar to the use effect, use layout. So, and this is just the use. The difference is use effect is called after the rendering our components. Okay, but the use layout effect is just called when the our DOM any DOM is updated. Okay, it does not wait to the like loading our rendering our component. If there is some in our DOM is changed, then it will load. Like I'm just going to like creating. I'm just removing here. So today I am just going to finish all the important hooks. Okay, like we have another hooks like use location, use history, which we use for the our routing. So when we will discuss the routing, I will tell you that how we can use the use history and use location. Okay, so I am just going to import React. Okay, and here I am just going to use layout effect and use effect as well. I'm just going to I'm just going to change the body style. Body dot style dot background color, like in this case I'm having red. Okay, and I'm using a same hook like use layout, and I'm having a color like green. Okay, so I'm just here red color, so I'm just going to refresh my component. So this is showing red and green now. Okay, so let's check the difference. When I am just refreshing this, first first this is calling the green color. Okay, then this is very fast. Like I'm just going to hide here, and I'm just going to console here. Console, my bad. Console.log green and red. Okay, so first this is calling the green and then red. Okay, so our use layout effect is called when we are getting loading, and it will call before the use effect, and will call before the, like when we are rendering and any DOM effect. Like first time it is rendering, so we are rendering, so we are just changing the our DOM with the help of this div. Okay, so and when we will use layout effects, like we, as I have changed this style of the body, so any DOM element I want to change the uh, I want to change the effect, then we will use the use layout effect. And we also use in the scrolling, if we are working in the browser scrolling, and we have a feature like move to top, and this type of scroller we want to use, then we can use layout. Okay, so as I have discussed previous video, the use effect and use default value, there is a one more component, one more hook, like use debug, use debug value. Okay, use debug value. So these are not so much important. Like I, in use debug value, I have here tech mentor. Okay, so these are this hook generally we use, generally used in the like building the libraries. So we don't use this hook, and this is used for the building the libraries, like, and like they, this is used in the dev tools. If you want to see, you just install the React dev tool, and you have here the component. Okay, so it's dependent also the like versions. Like when we will click here, go here, so we will get here, so I have some like version, lower version, so this is not coming here, but you will get here in the hooks, like effect we have layout effect we have, so this will also come here in the dev tools. Okay, because this is the hook. So and this is used for the library building in React. So these are the use layout effect, use debug, and use imperative hook. These are not so much important for as per the development perspective. So I'm just binding this session. Okay, so I have covered all the important hooks till now, and there are the like I'm just going here the hooks references. I'm just going here hook references. So in hook references, I have covered use state, use effect, use context, use reducer, use callback, use memo, use wrap. These are the important. These are the less important. Use debug values, use layout, use imperative handle. Okay, and other as per the development. As per the development, we use like use history and use location, and we will discuss these two after the discussing the routing and layout. So we have like two important session also, like one for routing and layout, and for form and validations, and for we have like here error handling in React, and like lazy loading. So these are the like important concepts also. So you just connect with me for next, at least next 2 or 3 lectures. Okay, and after that we will discuss like a few small things, and after that we will discuss the redux part. Going to- so if you have any confusion and anything in the hooks, you can just ask me.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning, sir. So,
Good morning.
now the use is doing same purpose as use effect and use state combined. So, uh, why did we ever need to use use state and use effect?
Use state and
We could
use
have
effect.
used use. Yeah, use reducer is doing the same thing, right?
Use reducer,
Yeah,
because
it's
use
the same.
reduce yeah, use reducer is not doing the like use effect work. It is generally used for the use state. It is handling the use state, but use reducer is generally used for the like big objects, so handling. And use state is for the like small objects, small values. So it's this is the difference I have already discussed. So
Okay. So and for use layout effect, why does it have a dependency array?